Hello all, welcome to Hunter Killer 1440's How to Fix Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. This is Brad. You can check out my channel at brad.com, I spell it 13rad.com. I'm the host of this video. You can check out my videos on my other channel. I do some toy reviews, some vlogs, and some interesting videos about movies. But my favourite thing to do on YouTube is to collaborate. So here we go. This exercise is about making a Star Wars fan pleaser. It's the moment you've been waiting for. It's what you expected Star Wars Episode VIII to be. Let's dive in. The first act of the film is an explanation of the title crawl in Episode VII, explaining Luke's absence. Episode VIII's title crawl is as follows. The Last Jedi. It is a period of feudal war. The Knights of Ren rises. It has sworn allegiance to the First Order, to spread fear and chaos across the galaxy. Under the leadership of Supreme Leader Snoke, the first act of this alliance is to crush the New Republic's beacon of hope, the New Jedi Order. Without the Guardians of Peace and Justice, the tyrannic takeover of the galaxy will decimate the peaceful Republic. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker returns back to his home after discovering the first ancient Jedi temple that could provide a way to defeat Snoke. The movie begins with Luke Skywalker flying in his X-Wing and a much younger Maz Kanata by his side on another ship. Once they land, the south wing of the temple explodes, sending bright, gigantic orange flames into the sky. Running towards his burning temple, with a look of determination on his face, under a sky darker than ink, Luke and Maz move to what could be described as the entrance to Hell. First Order Star Destroyers appear out of hyperspace, providing a blockade to prevent Republic ships from aiding the Jedi below. The two encounter the first Knight of Ren. We see the newest toy product of Lucasfilms, the lightsaber blaster. The first Knight of Ren, seen in action, was seen merging her lightsaber with the blaster. When she fires it at one of the remaining Jedi, it produces a crushing blast that knocks the lightsaber out of the defending Jedi's hand. In an instant, the disarmed Jedi Knight is immediately incinerated by the blast. Luke arrives, and that Knight points the lightsaber blaster at Luke. Luke deflects the formidable beam of red energy with his green lightsaber. The blaster bolt literally knocks Luke off his feet and sends him flying into a wooden shed. Luke breaks his way out of the wooden debris and dodges another blaster fire. It creates a huge crater on the ground where the shed stood. That Knight of Ren tries to blast Luke again, but nothing came out when the trigger is pulled. This time, the weapon is overheated. Luke uses this chance to run towards the Knight. The Knight took the lightsaber out of the blaster and duels Luke. With a few quick strokes, he skillfully disarms her and takes her down without a drop of sweat. Luke only disarms and stuns her. Luke tells Maz Kanata to deactivate the beacon, calling all Jedi to return back to the temple, since it is a trap orchestrated by the Knights of Ren. Luke hopes he could save as many Jedi as possible. His vision showed the Knights of Ren torturing his Jedi students, which is what made him return. The two of them then split up. Inside the temple courtyard, bodies of other Jedi litter the floor, like wilted autumn leaves on the ground, with the Knights of Ren standing tall. We see glimpses of the Knights in action, trained in combat using one hand with a lightsaber and firearms in the other. They fight like pirates, but not the campy kind of pirates, the scary ones you do not want to run into on the high seas. Luke arrives and skillfully disarms and stuns a few more Knights standing in his way, saving Kylo Ren, Master of the Knights, for last. The charcoal sky reigns. Luke and Kylo face each other down. Kylo confidently defies his former teacher. He doesn't even reach for his lightsaber. Luke tries reasoning with him, but suddenly the chamber door behind springs open. It reveals a room filled with rounded up Jedi younglings and Padawans who can't fight, children and teenagers. There were a few remaining Jedi survivors clinging on to their lives, held hostage by the Knights of Ren, who are using them as living shields. Defeated and exhausted, Kylo told Luke to drop his weapon, or the hostages will die. Frustrated, Luke throws away his lightsaber and all the knights put him in a force hold, leaving the Jedi hostages inside the chamber. As the camera lingers on Luke's defeated face, as the looming shadow appears overhead, Luke's face drops. He feels like all the happiness and hope has been engulfed by a vacuum. The temple courtyard starts shaking. He doesn't need to even look at what's approaching. He feels the presence of the new arrival. Snoke makes landfall. Luke told his former student not to trust Snoke. Luke tells Kylo that Snoke is an evil dark side Jedi who was expelled from the First Jedi Order. Snoke's presence felt like an evil version of Jedi Master Yoda. Snoke responds that the Knights of Ren have so much faith in his dead ideology. They brought him back to life, literally, implying the Knights of Ren had resurrected him. He cruelly asks who was the first to spot Luke Skywalker, but failed to inform the others. All knights point to a knight who was first disarmed by Luke. Snoke then says, "The incompetent shall return with undying loyalty." That knight tries to escape, but Kylo Ren stabbed her in the back with a lightsaber. He grabs and slams her onto her knees in front of Snoke, knocking her helmet off. Snoke then absorbs her life. Her horrified face, flush of blood, contorts into being brown, dried, and emotionless. Her eyes sucked into the back of her head, until she is a hollow shell of a corpse. Snoke looks a bit more rejuvenated, but still deformed. Snoke demands to know where the First Jedi Temple is. The First Jedi Temple has long been relocated since his death. Snoke knows that Luke Skywalker has been on a quest for Jedi archaeology and has found the First Jedi Temple. "Tell me, or your beloved students will die." Luke looks at Snoke and realizes that Snoke needs the secrets of the First Jedi Temple to have a permanent, immortal resurrection. But Snoke's body has already started to rot. Luke can smell it in the air. Snoke will need a living host in order to survive another generation. Without hesitation, Luke throws Snoke a disc with a map on it. Snoke smiles and then orders the Knights of Ren to kill all the Jedi in front of Luke. His minions ignite their lightsabers and strike. Lifeless bodies fall. Luke screams in despair. He is at his lowest low. Snoke moves towards Luke and tries to possess him, but Luke fights back. That moment, laser bolts firing from the balconies start pelting down like summer rain. The Knights of Ren deflect the laser bolts. Luke uses this moment to take back the map, using the Force, and escapes. The Knights of Ren move towards where the bolts are coming from. Turns out it's a bunch of training droids, reprogrammed by Mars. Force speeding to the entrance, with the Knights of Ren hot on his tail. Luke runs towards his X-Wing, with Mars on her ship covering him. She blasts at the Knights, knocking them off their feet, sending them on their backs. Luke's R4 unit on the X-Wing prepares for departure as Luke rests in the cockpit, sweating and panting. The two ships launch into space. They manage to escape the evil clutches of the lapdogs of Snoke, but a blockade of First Order destroyers tries to bring down Luke. He and Mars are able to outrun them after taking out a few TIE fighters, however sacrificing Luke's R4 unit. Mars's unpredictable maneuvers diverted the attention of the fleet. This bought time for Luke to enter hyperspace. Exiting hyperspace, the lone X-Wing approaches a watery planet filled with islands. Luke landed on the planet Ukto. He began searching for the First Jedi Temple. Since Luke is a powerful Force user, it didn't take long for him to locate it. By the end of each day, he stood by the cliff to await his new apprentice's arrival. Day after day, nobody came. Luke's powers continued to diminish. Who is Luke Skywalker without his Jedi powers? Is he still a Jedi? Throughout the time of Luke's waiting, he ages to show a passage of time. He had his daily routine, reading books and training himself. It was shown his powers were much weaker than it was at the beginning of the movie. To keep himself from spiraling into depression, Luke befriended the natives and helped them solve daily problems, just being a friendly neighbor. This montage is like a mirror to Rey at the beginning of the movie The Force Awakens. Every day he meditates, he sees the First Order growing stronger, spreading fear and chaos through the galaxy. Finally one day, he woke up in pain, and to the voices of thousands screaming, he felt fear, terror, and confusion. Then nothing but silence. On the other side of the galaxy, the First Order's Starkiller base blew up the New Republic's capital system, and with it, every sensation and emotion of each person of the planet dying. Luke felt pure pain. The shroud of the dark side clouds everything hopeful. He couldn't stand it. He tried to climb on his X-Wing. Then he heard Yoda's voice.
You must not go.
Then he heard Obi-Wan's voice.
I sense a trap.
Snoke has been causing terror to lure Luke out. Reluctantly, Luke pushes his X-Wing off the cliff, so there is no way he can leave the planet. What is he waiting for? Why can't he get his laser sword out and face down the entire First Order? And why is he getting weaker? Day by day he meditated and looked across the blue oceans, waiting for the ray of dawn to arrive on these unholy nights. While he was meditating, he saw a hand. A young hand reaches out and touches his father's lightsaber. His surroundings turned darker than space. In a quick flash, he was bound in restraints in a clean interrogation room.